My name is Clara, and this incident happened 2 years ago in the summer when I was on a business trip out of town. Since the trip was important, my office booked a room at a famous 5-star hotel in the city center. The hotel was luxurious, with high ceilings, gleaming marble, and friendly service. But who would have thought that the experience turned into something I hope I never experience? I arrived at the hotel around 9 p.m. The hotel lobby was very quiet, with only a few guests checking in. The receptionist welcomed me with a warm smile and a friendly greeting. She gave me a key card for room 704, the 7th floor. I took the elevator alone. Oddly enough, the atmosphere changed when the elevator doors opened on the 7th floor. The corridor was dark and quiet. A freezing air immediately greeted me. But I didn't mind it too much. I thought it was just the hotel's air conditioning being too cold. My room was at the end of the hall. When I opened the door, I was immediately amazed. The room was spacious, the bed was big, and there was a balcony with a beautiful view of the city at night. But one thing felt odd. The room was too quiet, like empty. But not because it was empty. It was like something was lurking. I put my suitcase down, took a shower, and got ready for bed. But when I was about to turn off the lights, the bathroom light suddenly went off by itself, then on again. I tried to calm myself down, thinking it was just a typical electrical problem. But it kept repeating, off, on, off again. But because my body was already tired from the long trip, I ignored it and tried to sleep, even though there was a little fear inside me then. Around 2 a.m., I woke up because I was disturbed by the sound of a chair being moved. I thought it was the sound from the next room. But when I really woke up, I heard the sound coming from inside my room, like a desk chair being slowly pulled. I got goosebumps, and my heart started beating fast. I turned on the lamp on the bedside table to check. The chair had moved. I was sure I hadn't moved it. I swear the chair used to be near the desk, but now it was facing my bed. I felt unsafe. I grabbed my phone and opened the front camera, pointing it around the room just in case, pretending to record. I didn't see anything until I pointed it at the large mirror near the entrance to the room. On the camera, I saw a dark silhouette standing there. But when I looked directly into the mirror, there was no one there. I panicked and immediately called the front desk and asked to be moved, but the front desk sounded hesitant. "I'm sorry, Miss Clara. All the rooms are full tonight," she said. "But, you said room 704, right?" Her voice changed. "That's a room we rarely use. Who gave you that room?" I was speechless. "I was given this room when I checked in earlier," I replied. She didn't answer for a few seconds. Then she said, "I'll send security upstairs now." 10 minutes later, 2 security guards knocked on my door. They only said, "Miss, we suggest you go down and wait in the lobby for a while." I quickly grabbed all my important things and went down. In the lobby, the hotel manager immediately greeted me and moved me to a room on the 3rd floor. The next morning, during breakfast, one of the female hotel staff approached me quietly. She said, "Excuse me, ma'am. May I ask, what room was it for last night?" I said 704. Her face immediately turned pale. "Ma'am, that room shouldn't be used. 3 years ago, a young woman stayed there. She was found dead in the bathroom. They said she committed suicide, and some of the staff said they still often hear crying sounds in the middle of the night from that room. We usually leave that room empty." I was shocked and didn't know what to say. I asked myself, "So, who gave me room 704 last night when I checked in?" But I was grateful I didn't sleep another night in that room. Until this day, I have never returned to that hotel. In fact, every time I travel and stay at any hotel, I still bring a small folding mirror, not to do my makeup, but for one thing, to make sure no one is standing behind me. But the most disturbing part came a few weeks after the incident. I was cleaning out my phone's photo gallery and found a video I had no recollection of recording. It was 13 seconds long. I played it, and I got goosebumps. It was a recording from inside a hotel room, room 704. The camera was facing my empty bed, and in the corner of the room, in front of the large mirror, was a woman in a shabby white dress, with long hair covering her face, standing still. Not moving, not making a sound, just standing as if waiting for me to return. I immediately deleted the video, and to this day, every time I turn off the lights in my room and everything is dark, I always feel like someone is still standing in the corner, watching me and waiting. And somehow, I can feel it's not over yet. Before we dive into the next story, if you're here for the first time, please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell icon so you won't miss any of our upcoming stories. Your support truly encourages us and helps this channel continue to grow. And don't forget to share these stories with your friends and family. Thank you. This happened about 4 years ago. When I had just landed a big client, my boss sent me on a business trip to close the deal. The company booked me into a nice hotel, a fancy 4- or 5-star place. It felt like a dream at first. A fancy lobby, a rooftop pool, a big comfy bed. But a trip made me realize that not everything that looks good is safe. It was a Thursday night in early fall when I checked into the Carlton Suites. It was one of those old, historic hotels, renovated to look modern, but still had that old-world charm. Dark wood paneling, big chandeliers, and vibe. The lobby smelled like polished wood and expensive perfume. At check-in, the woman at the desk gave me a weird look as she handed me my key card. She paused and said in a low voice, "You're in room 1914. Let us know if you need anything." I didn't think much of it at the time. I was tired and just wanted a hot shower. My room was on the 19th floor, number 1914. The elevator ride was smooth, and the hallway on the 19th floor was oddly quiet. Like, too quiet. Do you know how most hotels are? Do you hear doors closing, TVs, and people talking? Here, it felt like I was the only person on the entire floor. When I got to room 1914, I first noticed a heavy feeling in the air, like I was stepping into a room that hadn't been opened in a while. But again, I brushed it off. Maybe the air conditioning was off. The room was beautiful. A huge king-size bed, large windows overlooking the city, and a fancy desk with an old brass lamp. But something felt strange. The lights flickered a little when they first came on, and there was a faint odor, like something stale or metallic. Complaining wasn't too bad, but it made me uncomfortable. I took a quick shower and got ready for bed. Before I went to bed, I noticed something odd. The alarm clock on my nightstand kept flashing 12:00, as if it had just been unplugged. I fixed it, set my phone alarm, and went to bed. Around 2:30 a.m. I woke up suddenly. At first I didn't know why. The room was cold, like freezing, even though I hadn't touched the thermostat. Then I realized the air felt thick, like it was hard to breathe. And then I heard it, a faint knock. At first I thought it was coming from the hallway, but when I listened closely, it sounded like it was coming from inside the room. Specifically, from inside the closet. I sat up in bed, my heart pounding. The knocking continued, slow, deliberate, like someone was tapping gently on wood from inside. I tried to convince myself it was just the sound of the old building or the pipes in the walls. But then, the closet door creaked open, just an inch, enough to see the darkness beyond. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and shone it into the closet. Nothing. just hangers and an empty space. Still, I wasn't stupid. I got up, shut the closet door, locked the chain on the main door, and returned to bed. I barely slept. The next morning at breakfast, I casually mentioned the experience to the male waiter who served me coffee. He paled for a moment but recovered quickly and said, "Oh, that floor is old. It's probably just the pipes." However, his face told a different story. I had a full day of meetings that morning, so I didn't think much of it. Later that night, exhausted, I went back to sleep. Around 3 a.m., I woke up again. This time it was the sound of the shower running in the bathroom. Keep in mind, I hadn't used the shower that night. I paused for a moment, then cautiously got up to investigate. Sure enough, the bathroom door was slightly ajar, and I could see steam coming out. The shower was running full force. I quickly turned it off, my heart pounding, and checked the room. The windows were locked, the door was still chained, and no one was there. That's when I realized something else. On the mirror above the sink, 2 words were written in steam. "Get out!" Oh my God, I almost passed out right then and there. I packed all my belongings and ran out of the room, not even bothering to change my clothes. I immediately left, checking out at 3:20 a.m., and called an Uber to a cheap motel across town. I didn't care, I just wanted to get out. Then, I did some searching online. It turns out that a woman had died in that room a few years ago, room 1914. The story was that she too had been staying there alone on a business trip. They said it was an accident, carbon monoxide poisoning from a broken heater. But the locals whispered that it wasn't an accident at all. The woman had reported strange occurrences before she died. Cold air, knocking sounds in the closet, the shower turning on by itself. That is precisely what happened to me. Since then, the hotel staff has reportedly avoided putting guests in that room unless they had to. I guess they had no choice that night because the rooms were full. To this day, I can't enter a hotel room without first checking my closet. And every time I see steam in the bathroom mirror, my trauma and fear come flooding back, as if writing would appear on the mirror. Sometimes I wonder, what would have happened if I had ignored the signs and stayed another night? I guess I'll never know. This story happened 3 years ago when I was 29. I had just gotten a new remote job with a big relocation bonus. I decided to take a few weeks off and treat myself to a long stay at a luxury hotel in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It was exactly what I had imagined. Modern, yet natural. Elegant, yet warm. My room had a beautiful view of the mountains. The food was amazing, and the service was nearly impeccable. But what I loved most was the quiet. There was no noise, no distractions. For someone like me who grew up in a house full of chaos, that felt like heaven. My vacation went smoothly and happily until the 3rd night, when things started to feel odd and strange. It started out as little things. One night, after dinner, I returned to my room to find the bathroom light on. I was pretty sure I had turned it off before I left. Another night, my toothbrush was wet, even though I hadn't used it since the morning. At first, I thought that the housekeeping was too diligent. Then strange dreams started coming the next night. The dreams felt so real, like I was experiencing it all, not just a normal dream. Strangely, the dreams repeated themselves with the same pattern, like they were replayed every night. I often woke up in the middle of the night, gasping for breath, my body drenched in cold sweat. The scariest thing was that, in the dreams, I was always in the same hotel room, but it felt darker and gloomier than the original. There was a woman's voice whispering softly in my ear. Her voice was soft, but I couldn't understand the words, like using a foreign language or maybe not human language. After that, suddenly, I felt something moving from under the bed. In the dream, I couldn't move. I could only see. And from under the mattress, a long, pale hand appeared, trying to grab my leg. Her fingers were thin and stiff as if they were rotting. And what always woke me up the most was the figure standing still at the end of the bed. A woman's skin was as pale as porcelain, long hair hanging down in front of her face. She didn't do anything. She just stood there, staring at me, unable to move. Her eyes were black and empty, as if she knew I was watching her. Every time I woke up from that dream, I could still feel the same fear, as if the dream hadn't finished. On the 5th night, I couldn't sleep at all. I was lying down playing with my phone, and then I saw the chair in the corner of the room move a little. Not much, only moved a few centimeters, but enough to make me aware. The air in the room suddenly felt heavy, like it lacked oxygen. I didn't hear anything, but I felt someone was watching. I immediately turned on the flashlight from my phone and slowly lit the entire room. There was nothing, but when I pointed the light at the mirror near the door, I saw a shadow behind me. The figure of a woman, pale skin, black hair, wearing an old-fashioned maid's uniform. I immediately turned around. Empty. Looked again in the mirror. Also empty. That night, I didn't sleep at all. The next morning, I went down to the front desk and asked if any other guests had experienced strange occurrences. The receptionist paused for a moment as if thinking, then said, "Sir, all our rooms are routinely checked. If you're uncomfortable, we can move you to another suite." I readily agreed. The new room was brighter, closer to the elevator, and less isolated, but the disturbances persisted. The dreams continued and became more vivid. I started hearing knocks on the walls at night. Not loud knocks, but rhythmic, like a code. Sometimes it came from above the ceiling. Sometimes from inside the closet. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I decided to go home. I quickly packed my things and went straight to the lobby to check out. There, I saw something that made my body shiver. Behind the front desk was a black and white photo of a hotel employee from the 50s. And there she was, the woman from the mirror. Same uniform and the same blank expression. I asked the receptionist who the woman was. The receptionist hesitated, then spoke softly. Her name was Maria. She worked here for decades. She died in this hotel, committed suicide. They say she still haunts certain rooms, the old rooms. We usually don't use those unless the hotel is full. I asked if room 512, my original room, was one of them. She didn't answer. She just looked at me with a serious face and said, "You're not the first person to ask that." That night, I left. But this kept me up the most. I checked the voice memo app on my phone a week later. There was a voice recording I didn't recognize, dated the 3rd night I stayed there. I played it. There was just static. Then a soft voice, whispering, "Why did you leave me again?" To this day, I have no idea how that recording got there. I hadn't opened the app at all during my vacation. I've deleted the file, but sometimes, at night, I still hear that voice in my sleep. If one day you are tempted to stay in a luxury hotel that is too perfect, ask about its history first. Because behind the luxury, there is a place that holds a story that they don't want to reveal to the public.